So I don't know. I just think this is interesting. I think there's a lot more that can be done with homelessness. But the first thing that local politicians should do is build more housing. And when they do, and it doesn't matter if they build it at the high end, the middle end, or the low end, wherever they build it, it's going to relieve pressure. Now, granted, a lot of people say, well, you're building all this new housing, but it's just for rich people. Well, there's people in the middle that are moving up that have become wealthy and they're moving into those. And that means the people on the low end are also moving up into the middle. And that opens up a lot of housing opportunities at the lower end. And if they can build more housing, for first timers, condos, more affordable housing units, if they can relax regulations so they can build more kind of smaller apartment buildings, 800 square foot kind of an apartment, not a bad idea. A great way to get someone a place to live, an affordable place to live, a place where they can build their life, build their self-esteem, build their career, and then take next steps in life. And we can't have that if there's this constant resistance to development of housing. It seems like the NIMBYs are starting to really lose control. I mean, that's definitely true in Poway, where I live, but you'll see that all throughout Rancho Penasquitos. There's a tremendous amount of development going there. There's development in Escondido, in Oceanside, in Vista, in National City, Imperial Beach, La Mesa. We've covered a lot of this in this podcast. That's good. But while that is good, it's upsetting a lot of people. And I often think that they don't really understand the greater context of what they're creating by opposing a lot of this housing. Okay, so got another comment here. We'll get everyone involved before we go into the community forum. And Pete says, there were signs of homes created by homelessness in what was Stone Ridge before the construction started. So yeah, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but let's go over this particular topic. The Stone Ridge Country Club in North Poway was shuttered. I don't know, how long ago was it? 6-7 years ago. And the owner of that property wanted to convert it to housing, and it failed in one of the local propositions. It eventually passed in 2020. Now there's a tremendous amount of development, but for a period of time, maybe 3 or 4 years, that golf course went fallow. They weren't watering it. They weren't maintaining it. And it became something of a suburban wilderness zone. And yeah, I'm sure there were some homeless people that went there as well, because they're in the shadows. And that's a place they could go. But in the end, we want to find opportunities for homeless people not to be living in tents, but to be living in homes. And that's only going to happen when we kind of address some of these larger issues about housing, mental health. I mean, this is a problem that has been created over a very long period of time that's going to take a long period of time to solve. And there is no silver bullet. No one's going to say that this is the one thing that'll solve homelessness. I mean, we can stack rank the reasons for homelessness and probably get different opinions. I mean, in my opinion, it's a supply demand thing. There's not enough supply, and therefore housing is expensive. And therefore people that are living on the edge suddenly can't make their rent payment, and then they're out, and then they're on the street. And then it takes a lot of effort to kind of get back on solid footing. But, while I said earlier that the top 3 states where homelessness per capita is the highest are California, New York, and Hawaii, where housing's so expensive. But we don't really hear a whole lot about major homeless crises in a lot of lower income states like Mississippi and Alabama and a lot of other places. I mean, there's homelessness everywhere, but it's less of a crisis there because poor people can still find housing that's affordable. Because right now, housing is so distorted. I mean, how much, we're homeowners, but how much does it cost to rent an apartment in San Diego? I've been out of the market for so long. It's got to be at least $2,500 a month, if not $3,500, especially if you wanted to live in a halfway decent area. And I'm sure many people are paying way more than that. That's the problem. It's just not affordable because there's so little inventory.